So, to go into the first question for our discussion, which is, do you think we need more regulation or do you not think we need more regulation, and where do you stand with free speech on social media? I do not support hate speech, but I do strongly support the freedom of speech. In my political theory class, we have discussed how free speech means that offensive or harmful ideas will exist online and there's nothing you can really do about it, both online and offline, regardless of regulation. However, I do think it needs to be some type of regulation online so that we can reduce the polarization in the society. I do not believe that big tech companies such as like Meta or Google should be in charge of creating these regulations. These companies profit on engagement, and their algorithms often are based off of conflict, misinformation, and extreme content because it keeps users active. Because of this, their decisions about regulating speech may be driven more by business interests rather than their genuine concern for the public good. At the same time, governments also have limits, especially because of the First Amendment to the United States. While the government cannot restrict speech, it can create laws that target clear harmful behavior, such as like direct harassment, or telling someone to harm themselves. Regulations like these would not eliminate harmful speech, but they could at least reduce the most dangerous forms. In my view, regulations should not really aim towards completely removing offensive ideas, but rather to help limit harmful ideas and reduce the ways platforms show extreme content. I mean, for example, how are we allowed to, comment on somebody's profile like, I hope you die? Like, that's just not something that we should be allowed to comment. I think that where the government can set boundaries and companies are held accountable would be more effective than relying on either side to do it by themselves. Regarding to the Nazi video example, I think there's an important difference between searching for that content and then having it recommended for you. Obviously, if you search something, they're intentionally choosing to view that information. However, if the content appears to like the recommendations or the next video that pops up, it can reflect their algorithms, but it can also not, and it could just be random. So I think the distinction matters because platforms should be more responsible for what they will promote than for what users are like actively seeking out. As we stated in the article, this is for the next question, we are starting to change the norms of what it means to be a good citizen. Citizens are now able to access a whole lot of information and have new forms of communication. As stated, politicians now communicate directly through social media, and there are not many controls on that information. I just talked about the meaning of being a good citizen in our class. It's something that relates to completely now, back then, like our first ever discussion. In Good Citizens 2, it talks about participation, autonomy, social work, and solidarity. Social citizenship is also another important aspect that includes ethical and moral responsibility to others in the nations and beyond. As we talked about engagements and activities, there are examples like obeying the law, serving in the military, participating in a peaceful debate, understanding others, watching governments, helping make America better, paying the taxes that you owe, volunteering to others, following politics are all examples that correlate with being a good citizen. The power of social media could help us promote healthy engagement and citizenship, but it also could do the complete opposite. Personally, for me, I love watching the interviews on campuses, and random people will interview college students and ask them like simple, maybe it's political things, like what are 3 of Trump's policies, or they'll ask things like how many quarters are in a dollar. And then they get a prize if they get the right thing, or they tell them like, no, that's false, like here's the right information, and just like try to educate people on campus. And I really do like those videos. What engaged citizenship in the future is going to start looking like, in my personal opinion, is, for one, engaging in social media is going to be a big part. Engaging in maybe peaceful protest, hopefully not violent protest, and maybe straying less away from voting from what we're seeing right now. To become good stewards online, we need to verify before sharing. We need to be checking the sources. If it's not an edu or .org and it's a .com, maybe stray away from those. Pause and see what you're sharing before you actually share it. Listening and understanding the information. So that means if you have to go check back again a couple times, and then understanding that other people have rights for their information to be protected, and not everybody needs to know everything about everything. That's all I have for today.